Hello everybody, JJ. It is Thursday, March 12th. So the bloodbath in the market is continuing. Earlier today they had to implement the circuit breaker on the stock market. They had to halt all trading. And we've got a lot of news to cover here. We'll try to be brief on this report here. Okay, here's the general bullet points here about today's episode. Disappointing speech from the president. They're saying causing stocks to plunge. I think the stocks probably would have continued to plunge anyways. There's not really any fixes that they're implementing, right? They're not really, even the fixes that they were talking about could be implemented are not fixes that are going to fix the underlying problems. We're going to talk about that. Congressional doctor, 150 million people could fall ill to this outbreak. Pretty shocking and scary prediction there. We're going to talk about that. The Fed extends and increases repos just as we predicted. The repo operations are not going away, and now this market sell-off, this panic, gives the administration the excuse to go ahead and implement never before seen measures, including more stimulus, more QE, more repos, and rate cuts. You can bet on that. Added travel restrictions also added to the fears and the market panic. 401k accounts get slammed. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about countries that are doing lockdowns. Consumers have stopped shopping, and there's quarantines and lockdowns. People cannot leave their homes. We'll tell you where that's happening. Will it come to the U.S.? If it does, it's going to equal massive job losses, and the markets could come down even faster than we thought they would here. We're going to talk about the channel accuracy claim from the previous video. There's a little bit of misunderstanding in that one. So let's go ahead and get started. Something else too, NBA cancels all games for the season. We touched on that in a previous report, but let's go ahead and get into it here. Start off right here. All major indexes deep in the red. One of the worst days of all time, and in fact European stocks are also getting hit, down about 10% right now as I record this, also on track for the worst day ever. No safe haven today. Gold down, oil down. The Fed, they're going to be increasing their repo bailouts into the banking system. We told you this as soon as these started. This was just going to get worse and worse because the underlying problems in the banking system are not being addressed. So continue to see bigger, expect to see bigger and bigger band-aids on this broken leg. Let's go over to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York website here, and let's see if they've updated it yet. Yes, March 12th we see the one-day repos at $103 billion. It's billion with a B. We see the 14 and the 10 days, another $45 billion. Once again, oversubscribed in that particular operation. So we have a total of about $148 billion worth of repo action today. Now let's take a look at the Fed's balance sheet today, the total assets. And we look to the far right here, we see a surge upward, and expect that surge to continue as the Fed tries to do whatever it can, whatever they can, it can. Now what many market pundits are saying is that the president did not come out with enough specific action to try to put confidence into the markets. We've always said here that they're going to try to use this pandemic as the excuse to prick the big fat ugly bubble, expect a major sell-off, and that is exactly what's happening right now. So how much farther this is going to drop, anyone's guess. I'm not pretending to know that. I don't think anyone knows that. But we have been telling you to prepare for this. Remember, we're the doom and gloom channel that some people called us for saying to prepare for a big, huge market sell-off, and that we're in a market bubble, economic bubble, that's going to deflate at some point, and here we are. Also, NBA cancels all games for the season. One player, I guess, got the as George Gammon calls it, the cerveza sickness, and that combined with the fact that they're trying to discourage large gatherings and crowds, they decided to go ahead and cancel the season for an indefinite amount of time. So of course if this outbreak starts to subside, we could see the games re-emerge or get re-implemented again. Just an example of some of the insanity that's unfolding right now in the world. So the president's speech last night, it didn't give very many specifics, a lot of generalizations. He didn't say he was going to get rid of the payroll tax completely, but he did say there was going to be further travel restrictions now. Now this time it's Europe. Also the congressional doctor that came out and said 150 million could fall ill. That caused more panic, of course. Expect more toilet paper shortages at your Costco and who knows where else. And let me add to this, it wasn't just 150 million Americans that he said could fall ill. Now he's using the word could, of course, nobody knows, not even the doctors. And again, just to clarify something from our previous video, just because I report on something doesn't mean I agree with it. I don't think this many people are going to get ill. Could it happen? Absolutely. I don't think anyone knows the extent of the panic and the spread of this outbreak. No one knows exactly. But all we can do is be prepared for a worst case scenario. That's what we try to stress here on this channel. All right, let's talk about 401k accounts getting slammed. Now that we're over a 20% drop, people that have 401k accounts that just had them sitting in stocks are starting to panic. They're calling their brokers. There's being reports of 20, 25, 30-minute hold times, people trying to get a hold of their broker. If you are one of these people, I'm sorry to hear if you're panicking. Try to log in online and try to do something on the internet if you're trying to get out of stocks. I think it's too late now. But then again, with the unlimited downside potential that we have because of this outbreak, because of this panic, we could see much bigger downside. So I'm not saying not to get out of stocks. I'm just saying, you know, it pays to be ahead of the game, so to speak. But yeah, if you're waiting to get a hold of your broker online, is an option. Try to log into the website. Who knows, maybe the websites will go down. Update on my situation, I took all my investments out of Robinhood. I still have my E-Trade account. So as I do trades, I'll still try to keep you updated, but I'm actually done with Robinhood after the several days worth of outages and glitches that we saw. Economist Robert Shiller, and also the co-creator of the Case-Shiller Home Price Index, is out there saying that this panic is creating a dangerous time. Well, I think we all know that. But he also went on to say that this panic is just getting started. So folks, we could be seeing an economic collapse of historic proportions. I mean, it's already historic just in the particular events and the fierceness of the sell-off and the panic. But if this continues, we could see a Great Depression 2.0 type of scenario. Now, am I predicting that? No, but I'm saying you should prepare for it. And that's something else we want to talk about in my previous video, where I claimed that this channel was one of the most accurate channels and the most accurate channel that I had seen for the financial world. Now, some people heard that and took that as I said that I'm the most accurate channel on YouTube. Well, no, I can never say that. There's thousands and who knows, there could be millions of channels on YouTube. It's impossible for me to ever check all these channels and know that. So no, I'm not saying I'm the most accurate channel on YouTube. I'm saying of the channels that I watch, no one else told you to prepare for the bear like we did. Right? Remember, we said get into some assets, try to prepare hard assets, food and water. Remember, we were called the Gloom and Doom channel. We were called the Crazy Prepper channel, trying to be a financial channel. We told you the banking system was in trouble and that the repo action was going to have to continue, even though the mainstream media told you it was temporary. We told you that the markets were in a big fat ugly bubble and that they were going to deflate. You just had to find a pin. That pin happens to be this outbreak. Right, we told you they're going to have to continue to lower interest rates and likely go to zero with bigger and bigger rate cuts. That's happening, and we'll see at the next meeting, which is March 17th, that they have another cut. I am predicting, yes, there's going to be definitely another cut on the 17th. And yes, there could be channels out there that are more accurate than this. All I was saying in that last video is that of the channels that I've seen, no one has prepared you for the specific thing. Right, again, there's millions of channels. There's no way for me to know all across YouTube if we're the most accurate channel in general. Also, let's talk about lockdowns. Here is a shot of what is normally a very busy district, San Marcos Square in Venice, just a couple days ago. So this gives you an idea of the type of fear that people have. If this type of fear spreads into the United States, being that we are a consumer nation, again, 70% of GDP here in the U.S. is consumer spending. If this fear and panic spreads to the U.S., expect big job losses, businesses going bankrupt, and yes, it could bleed over into the housing market. Now, in our previous housing video, I said that I had doubted that home prices were going to fall in 2020. Ultimately, I expect a big housing correction. You know that if you've been on this channel. Housing bubble 2.0 is definitely in effect. Will home prices start falling on a nationwide scale before 2020? That's yet to be seen. But this outbreak is impossible to predict, and it's impossible to predict the level of panic that people are going to have. Let me put it like that. But as always, we're going to try to keep you ahead of the game here and on top of it here financially. And also, I know I've been talking about this for a while. In our next video or the video after that, we're going to talk about how to prepare non-financially, even if you're broke, how to prepare for a market downturn, recession, Great Depression 2.0, how to prepare. Stay tuned for the channel for that. And thank you all very much for your support. Appreciate it. And I hope you're well and prepared as this bear market continues to roar and spill blood. Bye for now.